All right, hello and welcome to episode 16 of Dig's Sideline Podcast. As always, we are your hosts. I am Sam DeCosmo.
And my name is Patrick Alonia.
Pat, 6-2.
Hey, dude, you know what? I'm kind of surprised that we're sitting at 6-2.
Are you?
Well,
I think you had us at 6-2 at this point in the season.
The reason why I say that is because I was in full-blown panic mode at 2-2. Unlike all my other friends, so I take that.
You know what? We are halfway through the season now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So the first quarter of the season, we went 2-2. The next quarter of the season, 4-0.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
I'm loving the direction this team is going.
Yeah, ever since that Packers and Bears game, things have changed.
Yeah. I will say the one thing I didn't love about last night was that, and we talked about it, it felt like, this had the potential to be a trap game. And I feel like even though we won, I feel like it was still a trap game because we did not play to our full potential. And granted, it was a short week. We were playing injured. But I just felt like we were just not playing our version of football last night.
Agreed 100%. It seemed like they weren't ready to play. Or it just seemed like they were expecting a win and they kind of played down.
Yeah.
And they knew that. I think we all knew we were still going to win. Because I don't think they have enough firepower to pull it off.
I mean, it was not a given.
But it was not a given at all. Yeah, not at all. And the final score was 19-9.
Yeah.
So that
and the spread was 16 points.
Yeah, right, exactly. So there's quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. So I think we lost the coin toss.
I love when you bring up the coin toss
because listen, it's a big deal because when Zimmer always wants to defer until the second half because he wants his defense out there first when they're fresh, get a stop, and get the offense the ball, and then we can double dip come the second half. And it's a big deal because I mean, if we can do that and we can get the first 3 and out and then get the ball back, it's like we started with the ball the first half and we started with the ball the second half.
Yeah, but your rationale's spot on. I think initially when we were doing podcasts, I thought that was like your little joke.
No.
So I'm glad that's coming out now.
No.
But
whenever I see that we're receiving the kickoff at the beginning of the game, I'll go,
yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, because
I mean, we started out, we were marching. We had that beautiful pass to Diggs, wide open, middle of the field. He takes off.
Sam, what's going on?
I don't know.
Why is he fumbling?
Because he fumbled there. I think he fumbled. Did he fumble during the Lions game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a drop pass.
Yeah, so I don't know. He is playing lights out. There's some statistic
He's had over 140 yards for the last 3 games.
Yeah, and so that's set a record for the last 4 games. Randy Moss had the last 3, so he just topped him. But so he's playing lights out, but it's the little things that we're not used to.
Well, and the weird thing is and I noticed this when we threw the ball on when we were in clock burn mode against the Lions, and I noticed it again last night, was that I think his little brother tweeted at him the same thing, but where's the afterburners, dude? Like, you catch the ball and you got to just get off and flying. And I think he's just trying to run side to side, put a move on somebody, but it's like, just go.
He does tend to kind of dance around, if you will. And it does work.
But it works.
His yards after the catch is insane.
Yeah. And it works. But sometimes you just got to turn on the afterburners and fly.
I think for me, what I don't understand is, do players kind of like Cousins in a sense that don't have that mental clock that, hey, there's a good chance someone is coming up behind me and they're going to try and strip me,
Maybe, I don't know.
It's same, or maybe it's just all that misdirection, and instead of going down when he should have, he kind of cut it back. And then, like I said, people are still running down the field, and he came in and just popped it out.
I was so mad when that happened. I was so mad.
Okay, so when that happened, my heart sank a little bit. I was like, well, here we go. Keenum's going to drive. AP's going to get the first touchdown, and this is not going to be a good game. But thank God the defense stepped up, and Hunter had that strip sack.
Yep. Hunter had a strip sack, so we got the ball back.
Yeah.
And then I believe we marched down the field and got a field goal on that drive.
Did. Yep.
Dan Bailey, former Dallas Cowboy, he has never missed a field goal against the Washington Redskins, and he went 4 for 4 last night.
Yeah, his longest was 50, and that was a beautiful kick.
Oh, yeah. So he is 100% against the Washington Redskins, which was a division rival for him for a very long time.
Love that. Cool, calm, and collect.
Exactly. Just he has their number. So, so we kicked the field goal, and what happened next?
Then Washington went down and scored 3. Because if I can quick say, I thought Washington played pretty darn well this game.
They played a very good game.
And I want to highlight the defense. I thought their defense was outstanding.
Oh, yeah. They were able to get the pressure on us.
Yeah, Ryan Kerrigan, and then they've got Josh Norman and a couple other cornerbacks were just like stuck like glue at the beginning. Yeah, and there was a couple times when we were just like a yard short of a first down, and they tackled just flawlessly.
Kirk was sacked 3 times. Yeah. And not only that, but like I felt like we were getting called for holding on almost every play.
And that goes to show.
A lot of elf line.
Yeah, a lot of elf line, and that goes to show that they were getting through.
Exactly, yeah. So, their defense was playing very, very well, and that's just a testament to them. I mean, they came into this game 1-6, and they still decided to fight, and that's awesome. You got to tip their hat to them.
Right.
So
it ended up being 6-6, so we traded off turnovers, and then we traded off field goals. So 6-6. Yep. And then eventually we ended up scoring a touchdown. I think that was
Dalvin Cook. So I want to talk about that touchdown. So that touchdown was scored on a third and goal from the 3.
3. Yep.
Third and goal from the 3, and we decided to run the ball, which I love because we were able to run the ball pretty well against them last night. And we could have had another touchdown earlier in the game. It was the third and goal from the 3, and we had just been running it down their throats. And we decided to pass, and it was incomplete, or Kirk had to throw it away or something.
I think he was sacked.
You're right. He was sacked.
Goal. Yeah, that was early on. Yep.
He was sacked. So then we had to settle for a field goal, and I was like, Cal, we should have just ran the dang ball.
So I get that, but what I'm torn on is that too predictable of us to do? Like, is it wrong that Stefanski wanted to mix it up?
No, it's not predictable of us. It's third and goal from the 3. That's a passing situation.
Well, so that's what they did the second time around, and then we scored. And we almost got stuffed because Cook had to kind of like dive across the line.
Yeah, it was close, but he got it over the line.
And that's tough. I feel like the last times that we've been passing in the red zone against the Lions, two of them to Ham and BZ Johnson, they were I formation, play action, and they were wide open. So if we were going to do a pass, maybe we should have stuck. Maybe that would have been predictable. So, anyways, but you're right. You probably should have. We should have ran with Cook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. I mean, third and goal from the 3, you can't assume that you're going to get it in. You want to pass the ball, but we were just running so well, and we were able to run well all night. So Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. I think at the fourth quarter, I think we just decided to call it a night for Dalvin, and it was Alexander Madison's show. And dude ran for over 100 yards. He got a lot of them called back for holding.
He had 100 yards.
Well, no, he didn't. No, he only got credit for 61. But he had some huge plays that he broke away from where they got called back for holding. And you can make the argument and say, he wouldn't have been able to run that way if they weren't holding. But a lot of those holds were after he had already passed the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, and I think on the 2 that were initially held back, I think we ran 3 straight times because they were all holdings, right? And I think he had 10 yards on the first and then 15 on the second. Those were both taken back. And then that third one, he busted off like a 20-yard run.
Oh, it was beautiful.
And if you look at I re-looked at the clip there, the hole that the offensive line created, it was just like a beautiful little passage, and he just ran right through it, and then he just kind of bowled his ways through.
Our offensive line is stellar at run blocking. Stellar.
I'm glad you bring that up because our pass protection can be a little bit on the iffy side.
It can be a little bit on the iffy side. Let's talk about the passing game for just a little bit.
Sure.
Here. Kirk Cousins, 23 for 26, and 2 of them were throwaways, and 1 was a drop.
Yeah, he was darn near perfect.
No touchdowns, no interceptions, but that wasn't the game we were playing last night. We were running the ball pretty well. So Kirk had himself a pretty good night. 285 yards.
Cousins had a couple dimes to Diggs too. Down the sideline there, that was a beautiful toss.
Yeah, 280 yards, and half of them went to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook had 73 passing, or had 73 receiving yards on top of his 98 yards.
Yeah.
So that put him over 171 all-purpose yards.
Yep.
That guy just
And a lot of those were on screens at the end of the half.
That guy just balls out.
Yeah.
And you know what? Zimmer said this last night during the press conference, but whether it's Dalvin in the game or Alexander Madison in the game, and I think he called him Matty, which is is sweet. But he said whether it's Dalvin or Madison in the game, he says he has complete confidence.
Yeah, he did say that. Yep.
And they are just both. Madison averaged 4.7 on the ground last night. Dalvin averaged 4.3. It was incredible. You know what I really liked to see last night from the running backs was after the game was over, Adrian Peterson came up and just kind of said, I don't know what was said, but it was cool to see the baton getting passed.
That was my favorite. And I was catching the end of the game there, and they had to obviously cut it short because the game was done. And so I only got to see a couple of. I wanted to just keep watching AP talk to all his former team. You know what I mean? It was just like it was good to see. Not to mention the standing ovation they gave him.
Yeah, so he passed.
He passed
7 and 6. So now he's 6th now in the all-time rushing list. And here I am giving Adrian Peterson some love.
Yep, exactly.
Love you, man.
And he got a really nice standing ovation.
He got a really nice standing ovation.
It was kind of quiet initially, and then when he waved, it erupted.
It erupted. I'm so happy. There's nothing but love here for him.
There really isn't.
And they talked about, I think Troy Aikman brought it up, there was a very long time where he was the only glimmer of hope that our offense had. And
for like 3-4 years.
He carried us through a lot of dark times. It was hard enough to be a Vikings fan during those times, but Adrian Peterson made it that much easier.
Yeah.
And I got to say thanks, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, we love you, AP.
Wish nothing but the best. Hope you get out of debt.
I was laughing to myself last night because I'm like, I bet he keeps playing because he's in a lot of freaking debt.
I know. You can't afford not to play.
You got Frank Gore ahead of you, buddy.
But no, I saw a tweet. I forgot who put it out, but it was a picture of a rookie AP, getting words after a game from LT. And then a picture side by side with AP giving words to Madison and Cook.
Yeah.
And it was just like the caption was the circle of life. And it was just like,
I was on Madison's Instagram because I like to follow him.
Yeah.
And he had like a long post and like 6 or 7 photos of him and AP.
He was like, you and everything.
Exactly. So that's got to be such a cool moment. Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's nice. Anyway, back to the game. So they were passing the ball pretty effectively with Case Keenum. Case was 12 for 16 for 130 yards before he left the game. He left with a concussion at the beginning of the second half, which you hate to see. He was pretty effective. 8.1 yards per completion. So he was slinging the rock.
And I think at that point it was like a 9-13 or 9-16 game.
It was close.
In my opinion, I didn't think we would have lost, but I think that it would have been much closer than it was when Haskins came in.
Yeah.
Because he threw that pick immediately, which, by the way, Anthony Harris, phenomenal hand-eye coordination to even get that.
Let's talk about that just real quick.
Right.
What is going on calling a quarterback sneak, A, when you have Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison on your roster, B,
because then the next play was the interception. When it's fourth down and you're on your own like 35-yard line, what's going on? And Zimmer came out and said that was the single-handedly the worst decision he's made. Did he say that?
As being a head coach.
Yeah.
And he was happy that Anthony Harris bailed him out. But between that and the Stephon Diggs fumble, I was like, what is going on with us tonight?
Where we were on the field for that call, I was shocked. I thought that they were going to try and get him to jump.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
And if anything, you're going to hand the ball off to one of your big running backs who can get a full head of steam and get you that yard.
Right.
But man, you don't
that
call
was
that ball on your own 35-yard line. You call it on their 45, maybe.
Think about it. They score a touchdown there, and the momentum's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that we really had much to begin with.
Dogfight at that point.
Not that we had much to begin with, but
yeah. I mean, they kept the game close all game. Terry McLaurin, he was heating up. He had 4 receptions for 39 yards. But the story wasn't necessarily his stat line because that's not terribly impressive. It's what he was doing to Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
He was burning Xavier Rhodes.
And I was talking to some friends, and they're alluding to us benching Rhodes.
Seriously?
I personally can't see Zimmer doing that. Can you?
Here's the thing. You can't bench Rhodes because
that would crush the team.
Well, not only would it crush the team, but you still have to respect, even if Xavier Rhodes isn't who he used to be, the opponents still need to respect what he's capable of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't see him getting benched. I could see his role being reduced. Maybe he's not shadowing their number one guy anymore, and that's okay if that's going to be what...
He is 30 years old.
He's getting there.
He's 30 years old.
And Dan said this is the cornerback is a young man's game, and it's absolutely correct.
Yeah, and if you can... and you got all these rookie wide receivers coming in, and these are fresh legs.
Fast guys.
And fast. That's what I wanted to say. You don't see too many of the big boys anymore. You know, those tall guys, kind of like even the Alshon Jeffrey type big-bodied guys.
Yeah, you don't
they're
see
all
that.
quick,
Exactly.
And Rhodes is just a fraction of a second too late on every single play.
Yeah, and he's just getting by, and if they can get one step on him.
And they asked Zimmer about that, and Zimmer defended him. He kind of just he didn't really talk about why he was behind or why he was struggling, but he was just making the point that Rhodes he's a power forward was his statement.
Yeah.
And his game is not necessarily the grab and hold, but to be very physical, And I think the question was kind of like, do you want him to kind of step back from that because maybe that's kind of interrupting his flow, And he was just saying if he does that, if he stops doing that, then his entire game is thrown. Like he's just not going to be who he is.
Right.
So he needs to do that,
Right.
And he was saying that that's how they teach them. And I think another question was, can you kind of get him to play more like Hughes or Alexander? And he's like, you just can't do that,
Right. different styles.
Exactly, yeah.
And speaking of quarterbacks, you know who's back now from his 8-game suspension?
Holton Hill.
So now we have even more depth. So
much needed.
So think back to the beginning of the season. Hughes was still out with his ACL. Holton Hill suspended for what seemed like an eternity. Here we are, 6-2. We got our depth back at corner, and we're looking forward.
And I do want to say we've been very healthy this year.
Yeah, well,
extremely.
Knock on wood. Sorry if I just shook the cameras.
All good.
But we need to knock on wood for that because we are very, very fortunate that
extremely.
And I think actually now was a perfect time for us to do our Thursday night football game because I think we're more banged up than what we're leading on. I think guys have a lot of bumps and bruises. Look at Adam Thielen. He wasn't able to play last night.
Yeah.
I think that now is the perfect time for us to be able to take a little bit of a breather.
Right.
Give the guys some days off, heal up, and come back against the Kansas City Chiefs.
So the trade deadline's coming up.
Yeah.
I got a question because I've seen this sprinkled out there too. Any chance that we see Rhodes or Kyle Rudolph get moved?
Dude, if we do anything, it's gonna be those two guys. I actually wanted to pick up who's that left tackle that's holding out for the Washington Redskins?
Yeah. Bring that up because talk about that. That's what you were talking about.
We'll have to look up that guy's name. But yeah. So I was thinking we bring him in. Riley Reef. I mean, he's been doing fine, but I feel like he's not the most talented at his position, and this guy is a number one left tackle, and he's going to be expensive. And of the Vikings' $160 million salary cap, we're down to like $200,000.
Nothing.
Which is a great credit to our cap guru, whoever that is. So good job
using every dollar,
keeping all of our talent. But we can't afford to bring somebody in unless we let somebody go. And you got to look at people like who are making that $10 million a year mark, and that's Xavier Rhodes, that is Kyle Rudolph. And we just gave Kyle Rudolph a contract, but.
So it's Trent Williams.
That's the guy's name. Yeah, if we can bring in Trent Williams and kick Riley Reef down and not even sure how much Riley's bringing in, but if we
you could free up some.
If we were to shed his cap space, maybe that would be enough. But that guy's holding out for Trent's holding out for a reason, and it's to get paid. But if we could bring him in, I'm not sure if he played during the Kirk Cousins days. But
I'm sure he did.
I'm sure there's an unspoken communication between the left tackle and the quarterback because the quarterback can't see what's going on. So there's an unspoken. I know that if Kirk will bail out to this direction or whatever, and if they already have that, then that would just be another asset to us.
Yeah, and if there is any trade that I would like to see, it would be going after Trent Williams, who is disgruntled in Washington. I don't know when his contract does end, but if Washington could get a couple picks out of it and maybe a player, I don't see why they wouldn't pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I honestly, I've been saying it since the end of the 2017 season when Xavier Rhodes was playing his best football. I said we need to trade him now. Like, yes, it's great that he got us here, but this guy is getting nothing. He's doing nothing but getting older. We have Mike Hughes. Or did we have Mike Hughes at that point in time? 17? I don't think we did.
No, I think we drafted. He tore his ACL's rookie year.
Well, still, we were looking at Mike Hughes in the next coming draft for the next year, and there was some talent. I think there was a lot of corners taken that year, so there was a lot of talent in the upcoming draft. I was like, we got to get rid of Xavier Rhodes. We got to get as much We got to get rid of Xavier Rhodes now and get as much as we can for him because we're not going to be able to get anything for him if we hold on to him for 2 or 3 years. That's exactly what's happened, and we're not going to be able to get more than. I still think we could advertise his 2017 stats and get a second rounder for him for a team that's desperate. But honestly, if we're just trying to shop him to teams that are pretty well set, I don't think we could get more than a 4th or a 5th for him.
Yeah, that's that window to get a high value pick is kind of diminished. But yeah. I do want to talk about AP. I thought AP had a pretty good game.
He had a really good game.
He had 76 yards, and there were a couple bruising runs where you kind of saw him back in the purple and white. Oh, you kind of had a glimpse of that.
Let me pull this up. He averaged 5.4 yards per carry.
Yeah, his longest was 29.
That's crazy.
I know. For his age.
Averaging, and most of those runs were north-south through the tackles, yards after contact.
That's his style.
He's bruising.
Yeah. And
I also want to say, somebody in Washington taught Adrian Peterson how to catch a football.
Yeah, he has been catching more.
Yeah, look at it. He 2 receptions on 2 targets for 27 yards. Yeah. What's that about?
Right.
I would love to see that. AP, I love everything you did for us, but I would love to see you catch some balls, especially in the Brett Favre era.
Yeah,
that would have been crazy.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, overall, if we just kind of bring it all but tie it back together here, I wasn't impressed with it.
I wasn't either.
I can't expect a perfect game like we've been playing the last 3 weeks every single week. But I wanted a little more than what I saw.
Yeah, I did too, especially against a team like the Washington Redskins. It was a short week. We didn't have much time to prepare.
There's that too.
We were playing banged up. I'm glad we got the W, but I think we all knew it was going to be a grind of a game, even though it's the Washington Redskins. Right. I'm glad we got the W. I don't care how it comes. I just hope we can tighten things up for next week.
I have one more point of emphasis I want to talk about. Yeah. And this can kind of bring us home here. We're at 20 minutes. So I want to talk about Zimmer's pass coverage defense. I don't understand what's happening this year.
It's bizarre. Other teams, I think Stafford was able to throw for over 400 yards on us. I don't know what's going on.
There's just holes are being opened, and I don't know what's going on. I literally have no idea.
I don't know. I'd have to look at it, but it's interesting because that's normally a point of emphasis for his defense.
Yeah, and they're very physical at the line, and so I don't know if they're just giving too much coverage, and teams are just getting passes off quicker. Which I think that's what's going on a little more.
I think that's what it is. I think since Xavier has sort of lost a step, he's not playing press coverage. He's kind of letting he's kind of giving them some cushion.
Yeah.
So I think that's that's giving the receivers room to make a move.
Right.
And I think that's playing a role in it. Trey Waynes has always played his style where it's, I'm going to let you catch the ball, but I'm not going to let you get any yards after the catch.
Right.
I think Mike Hughes has been playing pretty well. I'm excited to see Holton Hill get back in. I want to see Mackenzie Alexander in there more.
Yeah.
Even if it's just on a rotation, just keep our guys fresh. But
right.
Whatever's happening, we need to figure it out and figure it out fast. Kansas City's coming up, and they pass the ball all the time.
And on that note, Patrick Mahomes is not playing against the Packers this week, and he'll be back for us.
I can't stress enough all of the breaks the Packers are catching this year. They're not going to have to play Patrick Mahomes. We're going to have to play Patrick Mahomes.
And you know what? That's fine.
That's fine.
Let's take it on. I was telling my friend, the Packers are going to continue this little phony fake season that they're on.
I just hate that they're on this fake phony season.
Yeah.
And it's not just their fans who are enough to deal with as a Vikings fan, but you have the whole NFL saying, "Oh, they're the best team in the NFL." And it's like, come on.
That's the problem that I have with ESPN and these sites is they don't put into any factor who they're playing and how games have really been.
No, not at all. It's
just so easy to put the Packers in the top 10.
You know who does tell the truth though? NFL memes. They tell the truth.
Yeah, they do. They
had this meme of, it was like a WWE thing, and it was the Patriots, and it was the Patriots blowing through all of their opponents this season, and it's just like, I don't know if it's like the Undertaker or some big wrestling dude, and he was just like knocking like 6 or 7 people over, and they'd put all the logos up. It was pretty funny, but yeah, I mean it's. They're all playing, all these teams, with the exception of the 49ers, who have been playing legit teams. With the exception of the 49ers, the teams that have records that, one loss or no loss, they're all shells of football teams, in my opinion. And
yeah,
I just think that we'll see what happens come January. I truly think that we'll be. And you know who else has been able to put on a pretty stellar campaign given their circumstances is the New Orleans Saints. And I hate Sean Payton, but I am giving him all the credit in the world. And
I'm not giving him any credit. I'm giving Teddy all the credit.
Good for Teddy.
Yeah,
I mean, Drew Brees is going to come back. I think his contract is up this year. He might be retiring. I really hope Teddy takes over the reins of that team and leads them into their future.
Well, and I saw some talk about Teddy, about the Saints trading Teddy for like a good draft pick. Why would you in the world do that in a league where players just go down like flies?
Exactly.
You would need to have a backup like that. And if Teddy's, what is he, 4-0?
Yeah,
or 5-0, whatever he is? Yeah. He's playing lights out.
Yeah.
And they're playing without Kamara for a couple weeks too. So that's another team that you'd hate to see in the playoffs. It's the Saints,
Yeah. I mean, I was actually just thinking about playoff scenarios this morning. It's like, all right, so as much as I hate to say it, the Packers are going to make the playoffs, whether it's as the division winner, which I don't think that they're going to be able to do, but as a wild card, I think they'll be able to make it. The Vikings will be the other one from the NFC North. I think the NFC West is going to be sending 2 teams. I think it's going to be the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. So I think that's where you're going to see all that. So the Saints are winning their division, and they'll probably be playing a wild card team. I don't think that they're winning the bye.
So are we thinking the Packers are going to take the division, or we are?
I don't know, man.
I know. I'm torn on
close.
that.
So we may very well see the
last 2 games of the year.
Yeah,
Packers Bears.
It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how the playoff picture shakes out. But regardless, I think it's going to be 49ers and Seahawks, Vikings, Packers, Cowboys are going to win their junk of an NFC East division. Yeah. And then it's going to be the Saints. I think that's going to be the NFC playoff picture. Yeah. I don't know who's going to be playing who. I just think that those are the 6 teams that are going to make it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. And then looking forward at the next 3 games, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. So the Vikings have the Chiefs next on a long break.
Which, by the way,
that'll be nice.
Sam and I are both going to be in Kansas City.
We'll be in Kansas City.
Sam will not be at the game. Pat will.
Yeah. Good.
I'm a better fan.
You know what? I'm gonna be sitting on a couch, warm. I'm going to have a nice cool beverage in my hand, adult or otherwise, have some snacky snacks, and it's going to be great.
Okay. And I'm going to be at the game with a very cold beverage in my hand too, bundled up in layers, cheering my butt off. No, I'm kidding.
So the Vikings have the Chiefs and then the Cowboys in Dallas. We have 2 road games back to back, and we have the Broncos at home, and then we finally get our bye in week 12.
Right.
So it'll be another tough stretch, I think. Two road games against 2. I mean, the Cowboys, I think that they're a shell of a team, but I think that they're halfway decent. I think they have some talent that we'll have to be able to cover down on. But it's going to be a tough couple games coming up.
Yeah. So overall, I want to just looking at the season, I'm pleased at where we're at. I think this Thursday night game couldn't have come in a better time, and the opponent that we did play, because it's like a mini bye. Then we got 3 or 4 tough games coming up, and 1 more bye, and then we head down the home stretch.
I just want to say, we finished last year 8-8, right? We're sitting this year at 6-2, and really the only thing that's changed is our coaching staff.
Yeah.
And the offensive scheme. And I just want to say it's such a breath of fresh air to see a team living up to their expectations.
And that's exactly it.
And knowing that they're capable of doing what they can do.
And I hate to have to say it again because I got a lot of flack for panicking week 2 and week 3 or whatever. But what you just said and what we've been seeing is what I've been expecting. So it's natural frustration.
Exactly. Exactly, and I think we got all of that out of our system. I think when we see the Bears and the Packers at home, I think we're going to win those games, and they're going to be revenge games. And those may be the only 2 losses we have on our record. I have us at 13-3.
I'm at 11-5. I mean,
maybe even 14-2.
Heck yeah, maybe we don't in the middle.
Maybe we don't even lose a game.
Let's take it a game at a time.
Pat, I'm just so excited.
Yeah, don't do what I do. I get very high and then I get very low. Right now, I'm at an even keel 6-2, and I'm good.
Okay. All right, so join us next time. We'll be previewing the Vikings-Chiefs games. I don't think we'll be recording in Kansas City, but the game is, in fact, in Kansas City. So until then, Skol Vikings.
Thanks, guys.
You know what I like most about this team?